Hey guys, what is up? It is the Fast Break Report here, bringing you guys another vlog, and finally got a chance to watch the Phoenix Suns play the Toronto Raptors last night. Yesterday I was actually watching the Miami Heat play the Cleveland Cavaliers. That's a game that I was really looking forward to, but I didn't realize that the Raptors were playing Phoenix last night as well, and the Raptors actually won. And so I woke up this morning and I decided to watch the game. Gary Trent Jr. had an amazing night. 42 points, I believe. 42 in that area. Gary Trent Jr., man, was such a great pickup for the Raptors. I mean, trading Norman Powell and getting Gary Trent Jr. back, who is clearly been way better than Norman Powell at this point. That was definitely a great trade for Toronto. But I wanted to talk about this game because the fact of the matter is, man, Toronto is running under the radar of a lot of teams in the East. Like, Toronto is a very good basketball team. I don't think people really realize how good they are. Just as far as like team defense, I mean, I'm just going to be honest with you. The Raptors are not very far away from being a championship contending team. And I know that sounds insane because they don't have like any real superstar players. Like, they have Pascal Siakam, who I would argue is overpaid, like really overpaid. And last night he shot like shit. He shot 10 of 24 from the field and scored 25 points, but his past 5 games have been pretty good. He's actually been a decent player for the Raptors this year. Granted, he's getting paid a lot of fucking money, but, it is what it is. But Scotty Barnes is like a multi-dimensional player that I feel like in the future is going to be a very, very good player. He can, post up under the basket. He plays defense. He rebounds. He's starting to shoot the three. I mean, his mid-range jumper's not bad. Scotty Barnes is one of those guys who should be in the Rookie of the Year conversation, even though I kind of think Evan Mobley is the Rookie of the Year this year. But either way, teams need to look out for the Toronto Raptors. Right now, I think they're, the 6th or 7th seed in the East. And the last time they played Phoenix, who is the best team in basketball right now record-wise, they only lost by 4 points. And then tonight, they actually ended up beating the Phoenix Suns. Granted, there was no Chris Paul. Okay, I'm just going to say that. There was no Chris Paul. I don't think OG Anunoby played. I have to check. I was kind of in and out on the game all day today, but I don't think OG Anunoby played. I could be wrong, but I kind of want to check because yeah, Gary Trent had 42. Yeah, OG Anunoby didn't play because he has a fractured ring finger. But Pascal Siakam had, 25 points, 7 rebounds, 10 assists, even if he shot like shit from the field. Scotty Barnes shot 7 of 17, which isn't good. Fred VanVleet shot 3 of 11. I mean, Gary Trent pretty much kind of backpacked him to a win. He shot 13 of 21, 8 of 8 from the free throw line. But I'm just going to say this, man. That's a night with Fred VanVleet and Scotty Barnes having a bad night, and Pascal Siakam. And they still managed to beat the best team in the West at the moment as far as record-wise goes. And when I see, like, the idea that the Raptors are, like, the 6th or 7th seed in the East, and they're able to compete and even win games against the Phoenix Suns. I think they split the series now. They lost I think they played on January 18th or whatever, and they lost to the Phoenix Suns. This time they managed to beat them, and with Fred VanVleet and Scotty Barnes both having bad nights, and OG Anunoby not playing. So I will say this: whatever team gets Toronto in the playoffs in the East, they're gonna have their hands full. And the crazy part is, like, the Raptors don't even have a lot of depth. I mean, they're a team that could really use a decent center. They really need some depth on their roster as far as their bench goes, but they could fix all that this offseason. Like, getting a backup center or a decent backup center is not hard. Right now, I think they're running Siakam at center, but they honestly, they're just a couple decent signings away from being a competitive championship team. And I think people need to look out for that. They need to look out for that over the next 1 to 2 years, because this team's going to get really good. I mean, Scotty Barnes is already a really good player, and he's only going to get better from this point on. Gary Trent Jr. has been a huge bright spot for them. Pascal Siakam appears to be playing up to his contract, at least to some extent. I mean, granted, he's not, the greatest power forward / center ever, but he's providing, you know what I'm saying? He's been doing his thing the last 5-6 games, with exception of tonight, where he shot 10 of 24, but it's a team with a lot of promise, man. And right now, if the playoffs started today, let's see, the Bucks are the 2nd seed, so yeah, that means Toronto's the 7th seed. The Bucks would have their hands full playing the Raptors. Granted, they have Giannis, but this team doesn't fuck around. Their defense is great. They don't lay down against teams. They compete for every win, and every time I watch this team, I'm like, they are just they're just a couple solid pieces away from being like a real championship contending team. And it's not even because, like, I get it, they don't have like a superstar player, but Scotty Barnes is going to become that player. I don't think I don't know if anybody really understands that, because like Toronto's not I get it, they're Canada's team. Like, but they're not like a big market team like the Knicks or the Lakers or whatever, so I feel like they tend to go under the radar. But Scotty Barnes is going to be very good, and I feel like Scotty Barnes is going to become their superstar player that they need in the next couple of years. And not only that, but just the idea that they can compete with a team like Phoenix. It's like, there's a couple teams in the East that I think if they were to draw Toronto in the first round, they have a chance to lose, like the 76ers. If the 76ers played against the Toronto Raptors in the first round, they would probably lose. I mean, granted, like, the 76ers have Harden, they have Tobias Harris, Tyrese Maxey, and Joel Embiid, but, like, really, the only guy on the 76ers that I really don't think they have an answer for is probably Joel Embiid. I mean, they play defense very fucking well, and they play defense, they shoot well, they move the ball really well. It's just, Toronto's scary, man. Toronto is a scary matchup. Like, I mean, if I'm looking at the standings, I think this is, I'm just curious. Like, even if Boston plays against them, Boston might even lose. You know what I'm saying? Like, Toronto is an incredibly underrated team right now. Like, there's just looking at the standings right now, Philadelphia and Boston, if they have to play, if for whatever reason they have to play Toronto, it's not going to be good. Like, teams that I think could lose to Toronto, Philadelphia, Boston, I think Chicago maybe. Chicago could, I don't know. Chicago's got depth. But I'm just saying, like, even if they draw Chicago, it's probably not going to happen. It's more likely to be Philadelphia or Boston, I think, at this point. But yeah, man, it could be bad. Like, Brooklyn, I think Brooklyn would maybe be able to beat them, but, like, I have no confidence in Philadelphia or Boston to beat them. The Bucks will probably beat them. Like, if the playoffs started today, if the Bucks were to play Toronto, they would probably beat them, because the Bucks are a really good fucking team. But they would definitely have their hands full. That would be a series that I would see going to 5, 6, maybe even 7 games. Toronto's not a slouch team. People need to, they're a better team than their seeding recommends. That's kind of what I'm trying to say here, is that the Toronto Raptors are a better team than their record represents. So anyway, guys, tell me what you guys think about this down below in the comment section below. I'd love to hear your guys' opinions on this. A like helps me out. Subscribe if you guys want to see more on the Fast Break Report. And I'm out of this motherfucker. Peace, guys.